Yes, but, and don't get me wrong, this is where the movie goes to shit.
Stupid shit.
In this movie, Reed also abandons him for a year.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so it's a little different.
Which
I
was
think
also dumb.
because up until that point, like really, the only interaction Reed had with solidified thing is through the vents.
Solidified.
Yeah, I'm just saying it was through the vents, and then he just abandoned him. So
which I also felt was stupid.
I agree. But given that did happen in the movie, if Reed had just come back and thing would have been like, "It's okay, buddy," like that would have been weird to me. Am I the only one that found it odd that they decided to make Sue Storm like a savant?
Ooh, I didn't watch it. So what do you mean?
He's still pure.
They make a point of it that she has an ability to recognize patterns. And like, it's really, this movie is really weird, by the way, in the way it handles time. Okay, because the movie starts off in 2007.
Okay.
Despite that,
the
teleporter that Reed makes in his garage has N64 controllers and 1980 CRT monitors. It's really weird the way they handle and then honestly, the scene with Ben and home.
Is that though? I mean, what, like 11 when you did that? So
it's still 2007,
right? But Nintendo 64 came out in 1995. Yeah, that's 12 years later.
But that's
what he's 20 something.
That's what I'm saying.
What he's saying is that when the film starts out in 2007, he's a child. He's building these things out of those things.
Yeah, out of N64 controllers,
2007,
and old CRT monitors. It looks like the 90s. It doesn't look like the 2000s.
I thought that it was going back to 95.
And then to the scene with Ben at home, that straight up looks like the 1980s.
Oh yeah.
And then Sue Storm is in a Portishead. Like what?
Right.
The one of the critics that I saw that reviewed the film that I normally I'm pretty in agreement with them.
Sure.
Said something about how the film is so hipster that it's insisting that it's hipster because of the Portishead.
I think
because of the.
I think really the only hipster the only hipster character was Sue Storm, and that's only because she was wearing plaid and listened to Portishead.
It's not just that though, but he was making the point that the whole Reed Richards and Johnny Storm, where Johnny's doing this and then Reed's just like the whole scene. I don't know. That's pretty good. I mean, yeah, but the point is that he thought it was insisting on itself that it's this awkward hipster type of film.
I guess,
and it was really.
But yeah, so the entire up until the point where, like you said, where Reed disappears for a year, the movie had a very amazing Spider-Man feel to it, and I was on board with it. And then after that, it doesn't even dive bomb; it teleports right to the gutter, just
the thing
and stays there.
The thing with the film to me is that you can tell, watching this movie, that there is a complete and total tonal difference in the way that Trank took to the film and that the producers took to the film.
Well,
and it's very obvious from the first
$20 million in reshoots.
But it's very obvious from the first act to the second act that in the first act, it's very much like you said, Amazing Spider-Man. It's very kind of hip, but at the same time a little dark, and that obviously seems Trank to me. And then as soon as that change in the characters happens, it turns into a campy, almost like 1980s superhero film, in the way that they handle all of it. And it's so disjointed. It's like that I'm not even watching the same movie anymore.
Yep, it's true.
And
it's like you said, it is. You can feel the Chronicle vibe in the first half of the movie, and then it just disappears. What did you guys? Or I guess Ricky hasn't seen it, but what did you think of how the powers looked?
Their powers.
You already talked about Johnny Storm.
Johnny, I think was weird.
What did you think of the way the thing looked?
I don't like the thing. And I know that you disagree, but I don't like the thing.
Big.
I don't like the thing because he's big and jagged, because it's not my thing. Right, my thing is kind of short. He's very round and polished.
The thing isn't short. He's 6 feet tall.
No, he's not. The actual thing in the comics.
I'm
looking this up because that is not right.
I'm pretty sure he's just short compared to the Hulk.
No, but he's shorter than all of the members in the Fantastic Four except maybe Sue.
Is he?
I'm going to look it up right now because I'm pretty sure.
But he's always kind of crouching.
That's true too.
So. He is kind of like a hunchback.
Yeah. I thought Reed's stretching looked awesome. Actually,
I did. I thought that Reed and to a point, Sue's powers looked fine. I loved the way
Sue's powers looked.
Some of it kind of felt weird to me, mostly when she's hovering in the ball.
I guess that's a little strange, but her force bolts actually looked great.
That did look fine.
And I actually think Kate Mara did a pretty good job as Sue Storm. This is a Sue Storm I could see Namor falling in love with. You get me? Not the Jessica Alba Sue Storm, but this Sue Storm.
No, it says he is 6 feet.
Yeah, see?
I've always pictured him shorter.
No, it's just you're comparing him to other bruisers like, Power Man or Hulk, and who are all much bigger than him.
That's fair.
But yeah, he is big in this movie, but still, I felt that it looked more natural than Michael Chick.
Wait. Hold on. I just thought about this.
What?
When the Fantastic Four, anytime you see their covers, it's always Sue's on the ground, Reed's always stretched, and Johnny's always flying.
Sure.
So the Thing is always on the ground as well, so that's why he looks short. Right?
Maybe.
I mean, I'm just saying, every Fantastic Four cover I see, that's exactly how it always is.
That's possibly true. The other thing that I really hated about this film is that they kind of, outside of Ben and Sue, and then like Ben, Victor, and Johnny, in a sense, they completely messed up the dynamic between the four.
Well, then again, you have to remember is that this is also the first film where we're joining them with their first meeting.
Well, sure, but that even still, the idea like Johnny and Thing have maybe one interaction in the entire film. And Johnny comes off as a total dick.
Yes.
Like he is just an asshole when he comes off to him. And that is not Johnny Storm. Like it's not like a thing nobody wanted. It's less like that's the Johnny Storm that they messed up as well.
Quick, I did want to talk what I liked specifically about Reed stretching. Is that like I felt like in the other movie, it's just like, okay, they took his arm and made it go over here, and like that was it. But in this movie,
the joints
you see not just his joints, like you see like actual stretching happening in his core body. It was really cool. And specifically the scene where he gets out of the restraints. And you see the way it, like
that body horror type of scene.
Yeah, it was really cool. But that's like it's honestly it's in line with what all the reviews have said. The only good thing about this movie was the cast,
and it was pretty much wasted.
Yeah, no, it was definitely wasted.
Yeah,
Kate Mara had nothing to work with. They gave her nothing.
I think Thing and Sue had one thing to say. Anyway, we'll be right back. Once we come back, I want to talk about where they're going to go from here with Fantastic Four, and also something interesting that's happening with Fox and their X-Men franchise, and we'll talk about that in a moment.
You wanna know how I got these scars? From Batman? From Batman.
Worst Joker ever. Now back to Capes and co-hosts.
Oh, James, I love how you hate that.
Oh, and it's sad because I love how it should have ended, but that's just awful.
That's so great.
Oh,
it is the best.
Anyway, can we do intros now?
No.
What?
No, that's too lame.
You're such a jerk.
I know, but it's too lame. Everyone knows you're James. It's okay.
All right. Fine.
Everyone knows who Ricky is.
Oh yeah, person who's
anyway. So what's
Do
happening
watch
with
us
Fantastic
though,
Four
on YouTube. Thank you for watching us if you are watching us.
Indeed.
And follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Capes and Co-host
Xavier's League of Extraordinary Avengers Corps Inc.
is a page.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, he didn't deny it.
I'm not
It was
denying
great.
it. Adrian's not here.
I don't care anymore.
No, join the group, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the Fantastic Four bombed,
Yes.
which is what we talked about last segment,
Of course.
which is obvious.
Uh-huh.
In other news,
Yes.
Fox wants to make an X-Men TV show.
Now, where is that coming from?
That is coming from Fox executives.
Really?
They said in an interview they are in negotiations with Marvel because Marvel owns the TV rights. So Marvel has to say yes.
How did that happen? That's
Marvel
smart.
only sold the film rights. They never sold anything else. That's why you got to see Wolverine in the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That's why Wolverine was in that animated show because they own the animated and the TV rights to those characters. So
that makes sense.
They have to go to Marvel, and Marvel has to say yes. Which brings me to why Kevin Feige is the only person who enjoys Fantastic Four. And that is because the moment that Fox and Marvel sit down at their next meeting to talk about this, Kevin Feige could just sit here and say, well, give us back Fantastic Four, and it's all yours.
That's right.
Yep. And at this point, why wouldn't Fox?
Right.
Because Fantastic Four has been 3 failures. 4 if you count their unreleased film back in like the 80s.
Oh yeah.
Like they
that was still Fox?
No, that wasn't them. That was another.
Yeah.
Was that another one?
That was a small studio.
Yeah.
I thought it was Fox. Never mind. It doesn't matter.
No, it was
three
Fox.
failures for
They,
Fox.
like they never released it. Yeah.
I know they didn't.
Yeah, it was terrible.
3 failures for Fox during Fantastic Four. Either they don't know how to do Fantastic Four or Fantastic Four is damaged goods. One way or the other. So
now, don't get me wrong. I'd be of the 2 that Fox owns, I'm okay with Fox holding on to X-Men. And don't get me wrong, it'd be cool if Marvel did get Fantastic Four back, but I am starting to feel like the MCU is getting a bit crowded.
I'm okay with that.
It's gonna get to the point where it's too much.
Maybe it's just because I am myself,
okay,
and I am never gonna get tired of Marvel stuff.
I'm not going to get tired of it either, but I'm afraid that so far they've been really good about handling the populace in the MCU.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm afraid it's going to get to just a point where it's just going to overflow, where they won't be able to handle anymore.
Right.
Where the screen time
shows.
is going to get too divided, or people are going to just be pushing other people out.
But see, at this point, I understand what you're saying. And the reason why I disagree with you is because I don't want them to make a Fantastic Four film. I want them to get the rights back and not make a Fantastic Four movie.
Okay.
What I want is them to get the rights back because the rights to Fantastic Four include the rights to Galactus.
Yes.
Includes the right to Silver Surfer.
Right.
Includes the rights to Kang the Conqueror. Includes the Skrulls.
Yes.
It includes Annihilus. It includes so many things that not only could the Earth use, and we haven't even mentioned Doom yet to give them an actual good villain outside of like Loki.
Yeah.
But also it includes so many things that the Guardians would be desperate to use.
Yeah. See, that I agree with. Sure. That I definitely agree with.
And that is why I want them to see they actually get Fantastic Four back. And if you're going to use the 4, that's fine.
And I do think that having Doom in the MCU would be great, especially after introducing Doctor Strange. Because real Doom in the comics, he uses magic. He has magical ability.
He's mystical.
Yeah, he is mystical.
And the thing about it is, to me, if you're going to use the Fantastic Four, you don't need to make a movie for them. They could be supporting characters because, to be honest with you, think about the storylines that you feel are probably where Reed or Sue and Johnny shine the most. They're normally not in Fantastic Four books.
No.
To me, the best part about Thing is when he's like arm wrestling Hulk or fighting Hulk in the front yard because they're just like that kind of
just happens, right?
Relationship together. The best time Johnny Storm to me has ever been in comic books is with Spidey because they're best friends. Reed, my favorite parts of him are with the Illuminati and just with Stark in general. Like, to me, the Fantastic Four work so much better as a supporting cast than they do as a main cast. So if they got the rights to Fantastic Four back and they have all these extra supporting characters to work with, I'm down. Mm-hmm. And so if Fox really wants to make an X-Men TV show, I doubt that they would sell back the rights to Fantastic Four for just the TV rights. But if I'm Marvel, I don't even care. I'm going to go and sit down and I'm going to say, here, how about this? Let me buy Fantastic Four from you. And I will sell you not only the TV rights, but all of the licensing rights to X-Men.
Disney would never.
I know they wouldn't, but if I were Marvel, I would. Because the thing with it is you're not making money off X-Men anyway. The licensing rights are going to waste because you refuse to use them.
Sure.
And you could get back the Fantastic Four, and not only that, but all of those extra
But
characters.
don't they still have merchandising rights also?
It's a 50-50 split between Fox and Marvel.
Yeah, but
so anytime that Marvel puts it out, they're not actually making money off of that.
Okay, but if they just hold out, the longer they hold out, eventually they'll get X-Men back.
In 20 years, maybe.
Okay, but who cares?
I don't want them to have X-Men back.
No, but they do. They want it back.
I don't really think they do. I really don't.
No, they do, because Disney and Marvel have had
I think they want Wolverine back.
But they've had a history of very public disagreements and almost like giant shouting matches between them and the executives at Fox over Fox not letting them buy the rights back to all of their characters. So it's very much they want all of them back. It's not necessarily that they want to make a movie about all of them, but they want them all back. But to me, it's like this seems like an obvious choice.
Now, it's funny is that we have had one successful Fantastic Four movie.
The Incredibles?
The Incredibles.
Yeah, The Incredibles.
I'm just saying, and that was Disney. So yeah, they should have it back.
I would think that, to me, if they're not going to compromise with you and you offer them the licensing rights, they would say yes to that. Because then that means they get to make the toys and they get to make the...
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. Disney's not going to give up merchandising.
Nope.
You're probably right, but they're not using them anyway. So I'm thinking, they are
using them.
No,
that's
they're not, though.
They still make money. They make money off the merchandise, Garrett.
Okay.
All right. We don't have to get into that too much.
Yeah, sure. But there's a reason why that there's no Fantastic Four licensed books that involve the movie rights, that involve the movie characters.
Speaking of
there's
Fox,
no licensed...
Come on, guys. Let's just get off of it. Come on. I mean, we know what we're talking about. We're trying to get Fantastic Four.
But that's not the point, though. The point is that they're not making any merchandise based on the movie properties because they don't make money off of that. So if you sell them the merchandising rights to the film properties...
Are they going to make any money off Deadpool?
Who cares? They won't.
Okay, let's talk about Deadpool trailer.
I haven't seen it.
What? Oh, shit.
So fantastic.
I love that
it's very good.
Morena Baccarin is in it. I love her. That's how you say her name, right?
I don't know.
You know who I'm talking about?
No.
Did you see Firefly?
Yes.
Inara from Firefly.
That is her.
That's her, yeah.
Oh wow, that is her.
The trailer was very well made. It's very
That's
Deadpool.
the only part I've seen is her in her underwear. So that's all I've seen.
That's all you need to see.
And then there's that comic going around with like the clip of the Joker. It's like, I'm gonna, whatever, I'm gonna hurt you.
Whatever.
And then it's him laying in the bed. It's great.
Whatever, Puff Spice.
Yeah, whatever. Scary Spice.
There's a great joke that I'm going to tell you about, and I don't care if you don't want to hear it. There's a great joke about the Green Lantern film.
Ricky, mute his mic.
Yeah, there is.
There's a great Green Lantern
but
joke.
we won't get into it because it's a small little.
No, I'm going to get into it right now.
No, don't do it. Don't
do
it. Don't do it. I will mute your mic if you do it because that's rude.
That's rude.
Don't make the suit green. Or
dude.
animated.
All right, so
I think you got him just in time. Too.
No, you heard it. You don't even lie to me.
I heard it.
Now you're yelling, so you want everyone to hear you.
You can pick me up in the other mics because you suck.
All right.
Anyway, so Civil War rumors?
So great. Oh my gosh.
But I mean, this will be a successful Fox film, so at least the next one they have coming out is going to be successful.
To me, that's the thing is and the reason why I want them to just buy Fantastic Four back is because Fox does fine with X-Men.
Yeah.
X-Men in itself, just talking about the X-Men properties.
They make good movies.
But I'm saying just talking about the X-Men branded franchises and not even the ones like Wolverine and Gambit, the spinoffs.
Right.
You can make an X-Force movie. You can make X-Factor, New Mutants, X-Men. There's so many properties that you can do.
It's a world onto itself.
On that topic, Channing Tatum isn't out of Gambit at all.
No, yeah. he used the press to negotiate a contract.
Yeah.
Which is smart. Fantastic.
No, dude, Channing Tatum's awesome. That was really well done.
Yeah, he's a Bama boy.
What?
He's a Bama boy.
Oh,
he's from Alabama.
Yeah.
I like that guy. He's just cool.
No, he is cool. Did you see the video of from all of them at Comic-Con? It's like all of them standing up after a panel, and the only one that turns around to help the 93-year-old Stan Lee up is Channing Tatum.
Of course, man. He's a gentleman.
I like Tatum.
No, yeah, he's a cool guy.
I started with skepticism, and I've just gone to
honestly,
optimism.
I was bummed out when I heard that he had fallen out of Gambit because, don't get me wrong, I think there are people who could do a better job, but I'd like to give him the chance. And I honestly, don't get me wrong, Gambit is probably my favorite X-Men.
Yeah.
He is one of my favorite X-Men.
Who would have thought James McAvoy would have made a good Professor
Exactly.
X? You know what I'm saying?
And I even though he is one of my favorite X-Men, I still feel like he's not so important that if Channing did fuck it up, oh well. I mean, it happened.
You know, to me,
Right, because those Wolverine movies happen and we still forgive Wolverine.
Exactly.
The only problem that I have is I just hope that he's worked on his accent since Jump Street 22.
Well, dude,
22 Jump
well,
Street.
he has.
My name
he's
is
a
Remy.
Southern-
Jeff.
My name is Remy.
he has a Southern voice, so he's already.
I was just making it.
I know. No, it's really funny, but no, Riz, I just.
No, yeah, it's true. He is from Alabama, so he's not too far from the Bayou.
Yeah.
I'm just
I mean,
waiting
it's
for
a
them-
different. It's definitely a different accent.
It is different, but I'm saying I'm sure he, like you said, I'm sure he's heard it. You get me?
Definitely.
I'm sure he's been exposed to it.
I'm waiting for them
sure
to cast
he's-
Jonah Hill
Oh God.
as like someone, his confidant, his informant.
No.
I don't care.
Anyway,
I wanna see
Channing
it.
Tatum was great as in
It's
his
like
cameo
how-
appearance, and This Is the End.
Oh
it's,
yeah.
It's like how
I love him.
no, it's so great. It's like a Benedict Cumberbatch get cast as Marvel, and then the next movie that they're making, they're like, let's throw Martin Freeman in there.
Oh man.
It's the same thing with Tatum and Hill,
No, I don't want to see Hill in anything.
or
to be
like
honest with you.
Seth Rogen and
Seth Rogen, I'm down for.
Seth Rogen and Franco.
All right, so
always together.
we have a few minutes
And
left.
Jay
if-
Baruchel. He's always in those.
That
movies
is true.
too.
He is always in there.
We have a few minutes left if we want to jump into the Civil War stuff real quick,
Uh,
or do you want to?
I want to save that for a second.
Yeah.
I do want to talk real quick about how Doctor Strange is supposed to be Marvel's Fantasia.
Yeah,
According
Dark
to executives.
Fantasia. I don't know what that's supposed to even.
I know. I don't really. The reference is.
It's like-
from the 40s.
It's like dark and trippy, I think, is what they're trying to say. Because, like,
Mhm.
I mean, the trippy in the sense that
So
we
the
saw
wall.
with Ant-Man when he went into the quantum realm, that type of trippiness,
Mhm.
but with like a because they talked about the tone that they saw as almost horror film like dark.
Yeah.
So
Just
like, have you guys ever seen The Wall? Pink
Like,
Floyd's The Wall.
Pink. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so it kind of be like
I was like, what
maybe not that
Ah.
trippy, but when you said trippy and dark,
That's the first thing you thought of.
It's the first thing I bumped.
First
in my
thing I
mind.
hear about trippy is I think a day tripper for some reason,
or
just because of the name.
what's that movie called? Oh my god, Clockwork Orange.
Uh,
Dark
Yeah.
and kind of trippy.
I mean, it wasn't really trippy as much as it
No.
was dark to me.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
of course it's dark,
I get
but
what you're saying.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm really excited to see what happens with Doctor Strange. I have made
Oh, for sure.
no secret that it's probably my most anticipated Marvel film.
It would
in
probably be my
phase-
favorite.
Phase 2, 3, maybe Spider-Man beat that out.
Well,
But,
yeah,
come
I-
on, man. But that's just because you.
but that's
got
because it's Spider-Man.
yeah, you got a boy
Like
crush on him.
Man crush.
No, it's a boy crush.
No, this is a man thing.
The guy's 14 years old. It's supposed to be 14, 15.
16.
16.
The actor's 18, so it's legal.
Oh,
Oh,
it is.
and it got weird.
He's
Oh,
right.
it did get weird. Oh, it's great though.
So Doctor Strange, we're excited.
But
for
yeah,
it
I mean,
next year.
I'm getting more excited about it. Again, I know that this is not something that Garrett and I agree on. I'm still a
Wrong
little,
about Doctor Strange?
no, not about Doctor Strange, about Benedict Cumberbatch specifically.
Yeah, you're still wrong about it. It's okay.
Okay, that's fine. I feel
yeah. I get
I'm not saying he's going to do a bad job.
You're afraid he's gonna
I'm
make it Sherlock.
apprehensive about it.
You're
Yeah.
afraid he's gonna make it Sherlock.
I am afraid he's going to make it Sherlock.
I'm
He kind of has a Dracula look to him. He might look because he has like.
He is
he's, like,
very-
bony.
yeah,
very, very
You know what
angular.
I'm saying? So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. He might look kind of weird in that
I'm down for it.
whole.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Also, Rachel McAdams might be his love interest.
Yes.
And supposedly it's Night Nurse,
Everybody loves.
which is why Rosie Dawson was never referred to as Night Nurse.
Rosario.
Interesting.
Because because they
5
wanted to
seconds.
use her for the thing. We'll be right back. Talk about Civil War. I love you. Bye. What? Just go. animation thing they were gonna do.
Now here to give everybody what they want, it's Capes and co-hosts. Right, Jonah?
Anybody care about what I want? I do. Shut up. Get out.
Now back to Capes and co-hosts.
Is it too much to ask that they just keep J. Jonah as J.K. Simmons?
I would love that, but okay.
Schillinger.
You remember the complete total BS cast listing that we got a few weeks ago? Honestly, when I saw Hugh Laurie as J.K. Simmons, I'm like, okay,
I do this.
I could see that.
Do you guys associate J.K. Simmons as
J. Jonah? Absolutely.
See, he doesn't.
He was so.
When I think of him, I don't think of J. Jonah.
Really?
I think.
Oh, wait, you're saying when we think of J.K. Simmons?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's because he's fantastic. So, like, obviously, you're going to think of him as any number of different roles that he has had.
Schillinger.
Okay.
Definitely is Nas.
But when I think of J. Jonah, I think of J.K.
Yeah,
Simmons.
exactly. When I think of J. Jonah, I think of J.K.
Yeah,
Simmons.
for sure.
Exactly that.
And when I see J.K. Simmons, I go through a moment when I'm like, Jonah! And then I'm like, oh, and whatever else you've done.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
He's great in a lot of things.
He was the voice
Fantastic
of
I already know where you're going with this, and I can't remember it either.
Damn it.
Well,
anyway,
I'm
trying to look it up too.
Go ahead.
Anyway,
Let's get back to a big. This is still a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. But a big Civil War news was dropped over the past week by Heroic Hollywood. They dropped
the voice of what's his name in Legend of Korra.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Still can't think of it. Blah, whatever.
Never watched it.
Aang's son.
All right.
Tozen? Not Tozen. It's close to Tozen. Torzin.
Stop
Torin,
talking. Just go.
Oh.
Taco.
Dude.
Tenzin.
Dude,
Tenzin.
I didn't know he did the voice actually on Hulk and Agents of Smash and everything like that. I didn't know that.
He does a lot of voice acting. It's really
cool.
Anyway, they dropped the first.
Now, where is this rumor coming from? First of all?
Heroic Hollywood. There's two. One of them I actually wrote down. One of them I did not.
Okay.
One of them involves the death of a character. Not a major character, but I don't know if you guys want to go over it. Still a rumor.
How major or not?
It's a driving force between the motivation of one of the
someone we know already
main characters. Someone who's been rumored to be cast, but we're not sure yet.
Who?
Supposedly, the movie deals with the death of T'Chaka. And T'Chaka.
Oh, T'Chaka.
And that is why T'Challa is in the movie as a neutral party.
I'm down
as a
with
driving force.
I'm down with that. So we're actually going to see T'Challa's rise to power.
Supposedly. That's the general idea.
So his father's going to die.
Right. And I'm going to say that it's Bucky that doesn't. That's a total.
I don't think Bucky's
They have
die.
Bucky.
No. Bucky is the one that kills T'Chaka. I think that would be the reason why T'Challa's after him.
Spoiler alert.
Put him in the middle of the whole thing.
Don't they have Bucky right now in...
They don't. Well, okay. That was an after-credit scene that takes place in the middle of that movie. So it's implying that Civil War's already started when Ant-Man is going on. So that the first part of that movie...
Yes.
They've already said that scene comes from the middle of Civil War. They
it's
actually filmed that they filmed for that, and they were like, this will make a good tease, and they just put it in there.
Right.
So apparently whatever's the beginning of Civil War is kind of already going on while Ant-Man's doing its climax.
Okay.
Kind of like how Thor, Iron Man 2, and Incredible Hulk all go on at like the exact same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
But okay, so we have Captain America, Falcon, Bucky.
Well, let's give some context to what we're talking about real quick. So Civil War, the other rumor that came out was that there are the teams for the two movies, the Team Cap and the Team Iron Man. They have supposedly this is the roster with Captain America's including, as you've already mentioned, Falcon, Bucky, and Ant-Man.
Hawkeye, and Scarlet Witch.
That's
really what really bothers me about this listing so far. Well, I'll say it when we go over the other half. Okay, go ahead.
The other half would be Iron Man's, and he has War Machine, Black Widow, Spider-Man, and Vision, and then himself, of course. Iron Man.
Bothers me.
That Vision and Scarlet Witch are on opposite sides.
Yes,
I knew it was going to be
that's exactly what bothers me.
I think that'd be cool because then there'll be that little
squirrel. That's your Reed and Sue Storm.
Yeah, right.
Maybe those.
And then also that just by having Vision on their side, that just automatically
they win.
tips in their favor.
I get where you're coming from. I think that Scarlet Witch is a big factor here.
Yes,
because Scarlet Witch, this is the thing. We haven't explored everything that she can do. Remember that in Age of Ultron, she had been a superhero for maybe a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like this is if this is
no,
a
she wasn't
Scarlet
even
Witch,
a superhero. She was super powered.
She was super powered for a couple weeks. So if this is a Scarlet Witch that we are thinking she could become, she easily can do some damage to that Vision.
I guess.
Now the rest of it is what bothers me is the fact that Iron Man and War Machine would have been enough for outside of Scarlet Witch for the rest of Cap's team, I think. Like Iron Man and War Machine stood up. Well, Iron Man himself stood up to Thor, and that was 50 upgrades ago.
You know what? Now looking at it more, you know what really does bother me now?
It's a team of insects.
I knew you were going to say Black Widow.
That's really bothering me. That Black Widow is on the opposite side of the conversation from Captain America
and Hawkeye.
That I don't find is weird.
I find it weird.
Only because what?
This is a team of insects. You got Spider-Man, Black Widow, Ant-Man.
Spiders aren't insects, Ricky.
They're
Ant-Man's on the opposite side, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like ridiculous, man. Like all these fucking.
And then Falcon and Hawkeye.
Yeah,
it's true. There's birds and bugs.
Dude, birds and bugs.
What a scary little team.
Yeah, right.
Going on here.
But I find that Black Widow is on the registration side. That's weird.
Yeah, because she was like standing up to Congress before, and
but see, that was
Johnny Storm dynamic she has going on. She doesn't really know where she's standing.
Here's another thing that I want to point out is that in the exact that actually wasn't the exact same article talking about this. They did lead in the entire thing by saying, "Guess which one's the spy for the other team."
All right.
If you're gonna go the obvious route, it's Black Widow.
Okay. So now this begs the question. Are they still going to do the flip-flop with Spidey?
Yeah.
I bet you they do, but not in the same way you're thinking. Like, I bet you he doesn't join Cap's side. I bet you his flip-flop is just, I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
So is he going to be a big part of the film?
Really?
I bet you. No, that's another interesting thing also is that Birth Movie Death is another site that normally gets their rumors and scoops very on point. And Devin Faraci, I think is how you say his last name. I'm probably saying that wrong. Sorry, Devin. He said during the week as well that he has heard that Spider-Man is in this film a lot longer than he thought it was.
And Black Panther, what about him? Wasn't he supposed to be a big part of it?
Supposedly he's a neutral party. Okay. He is a fence sitter in a sense.
Right.
So,
but he will be a big part of the film.
Yes, he will.
Good.
He is the.
Because I haven't really heard. Because I mean, we were all going crazy for this Black Panther, blah, 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 and then like we kind of haven't talked about it much.
Well, no, I mean, I think it did help that once we got. I was gonna say, wow, I was gonna say Rwanda. What's the place?
Wakanda.
There you go, Wakanda.
Rwanda.
Yeah. Where once we heard of Wakanda actually happen in Avengers. I think that kind of like made it more real for everybody.
No.
So I think we were okay. We're like, all right, so we know it's settled, it's happening. We're good.
Like to me, like Feige has always been talking about how it's really a 3-person movie. It's Cap, Iron Man, and then Panther in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's I honestly the scene.
Can't wait till he whoops both their asses.
I bet you will. I bet you he whoops Bucky's butt too. And this is why I think Bucky's the one that kills T'Challa. Is because do you remember in Ant-Man, Bucky's in a vice. He's captured. And they find him.
Okay.
Who do you think put him there? My money's on T'Challa. Because if it was anyone on Iron Man's side,
why would he kill T'Challa? No one's pulling his strings anymore.
Or would it be Cap?
Maybe who knows? We'll find out. Maybe
Cap couldn't have put him
in
there.
Maybe he gets framed to do it. Maybe Crossbones kills him and frames him.
That'd be actually pretty cool.
But
to make Crossbones relevant again?
Who would put Bucky in a vice?
Yeah.
If it's Cap's team, they're taking him home and they're fixing him. If it's Iron Man's team, they're throwing him in a cell. If not executing him.
Well, it's definitely Cap's team because we saw the film.
Well, but they find him already held.
I have a question. Oh. How soon do we want to see Scott Lang go the other way?
Giant Man?
Yeah.
Here's my answer.
Okay.
Because I am
controversial, James.
I am pretty down for the fact that I think General Ross is on Iron Man's side.
Right.
Of course.
We had a brief conversation about this.
If we see the Hulk.
Right. Red Hulk.
Yes.
Hulk. I like Hulk better. If we see that, I would love to see a Giant Man versus Hulk.
Because I was saying this because we've already had the Hulk turn on the team twice, so they can't. I don't think they can do that again. Do you get me? But it would be cool if it ended up being Red Hulk and just have him like maybe it's something he even does by accident. He doesn't even know the suit can do it. Like he tries something like he did in the Ant-Man movie. He tries to take off some
And
kind of
it's-
limiter, and he
whoa.
just goes.
I feel like it's going to be more of a deal like when Iron Man sees the fact that, because we can see here, these teams, obviously the power sits with Iron Man. But if any one of these members goes down, the numbers are obviously in Cap's favor. Because it's already 6-5. If you lose one person on Iron Man's
if what
team,
you say is true, then the power is pretty even then, because really the only powerhouse Iron Man has on his side is Vision.
I think that War Machine and Iron Man themselves are both more powerful than anyone else on that list outside of Scarlet Witch. Iron Man, the
Iron Man
the
whooped some
seventh
Cap
Iron Man
ass.
armor basically whooped Thor for a little while.
What?
Do you not remember that fight in Avengers?
Yeah, I got a question.
He held up to Thor for that fight.
That's because Thor wasn't trying to kill him.
Sure, but that's not the point. The point is that he still took hits from Thor, and his armor was fine.
So did Captain America.
He took one hit, and it was vibranium versus, or that's what happened.
Yeah,
Sure.
but then Suit 32 went down like a little bitch in Iron Man 3.
It was 42. It was 42.
No, it was I was just making like
it doesn't
Mark
actually
32.
matter.
Yeah, it does
like,
matter.
I was just
Doesn't
I
matter.
wasn't saying how many came out.
No, but Mark 42 is the suit you're talking about.
No, I was talking about when all of them come out and they were all like doing their own thing.
Oh,
I was just making a random suit.
It didn't work.
It did work.
I was on board.
Anyway, but I'm saying we're talking about a 7th edition. Now we're talking about at least number 46, 47, and it's probably Bleeding Edge.
Didn't you say earlier you were tired of all these Batman suits?
No, I said that I don't like that they feel mechanical, whereas Batman to me shouldn't be mechanical.
Okay.
Iron Man obviously should be mechanical.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, but I'm thinking,
See, it's interesting that you say that, because actually that's one of the things I like about the Arkham Knight Batman suits. I know it's kind of a tangent. Is that
go ahead?
Well, no, is that they do kind of have a mechanical explanation for why he can rip like a metal grate off of a wall. Like they show that some of these things he can do is suit assisted.
Right.
You get me? Like you can see his suit like wrenching the metal off of the wall, which I like because it makes it seem less like, oh no, he's just impossibly strong.
Right.
So, but I'm saying,
Anyway, go ahead.
War Machine, I think alone is going to give anyone else in this team trouble.
Hmm.
Like, do you really think that Falcon can damage War Machine?
Especially since he's going to get a new set of wings. Yeah.
I don't see it as
I think
as an equal.
they're
footing
equal.
thing.
They're equal. They're on equal footings as soldiers. I think they're pretty okay. They're on equal footing as soldiers, but I think that I feel like part of what's going to happen with Rhodey, he's going to have a moral issue happening here.
And it might be, but that doesn't change the fact that the power still sits to me on Iron Man's side.
I don't know.
And especially if he's like, oh, our numbers are down, let me add in Red Hulk. Because I think that's what's going to happen. I think that you're going to see Thunderbolt come up to him and say, I noticed you could use a hand. Here's what I have. And he's going to be like, okay. Like, that's what I feel like that's going to happen. I feel like that's how you get Red Hulk in this movie.
I think War Machine is going to be pretty. He's a soldier. He's always going to do what he's told. So I mean,
that's how I see it too.
That he's going to be fine with the whole registration thing. Find it necessary almost as much as Tony does.
Because he's basically already registered. Like he is already a government agent.
He is the government.
Yeah, but
which is why I think
Falcon.
Right.
No, he's retired though.
I guess you're right.
And that's why I think Black Widow on that side kind of makes sense as well, because I think that after Ultron and seeing what it did to just to one nation in that sense, I think that it's an obvious moral decision for her to say, look, this isn't, neither one of these sides are right, but this is less wrong than the other one.
But
you know what I'm curious
her and
about?
Cap have always had this little dynamic, like kind of, they didn't get together in Cap 2 or anything like that, but they've always had this dynamic, I think, more than her and Tony. No, but I'm saying like more friends and stuff like that.
Sure. But
So
I don't think
kind of weird that they're on
You know what I
separate
want to know? How strong are they going to make Spider-Man? That'd be a good one. I'm really curious to know, because in the other movies, he's had like there was varying levels of strength between the two movies.
I bet you he fights Ant-Man in this movie.
You think he's going to fight Ant-Man?
Here's why. When they described what he does in the film, they said he has one really good fight scene, but it's very, very crazy. And I just feel like Ant-Man fits that. Anyway, we'll talk about this more maybe when we get back. We
already talked about it for 14 minutes. We're not going to talk about it anymore.
You're trying to hurry me up, and then you just talk about everything else. And then we also want to talk about DC. Bye. Love you guys.
Holy mackerel, Batman! Look! It's the bat signal!
Not now, Robin. Capes and co-host is coming back on. All right, kids, now back for more fun and excitement with Capes and co-hosts.
Batman. Sorry.
Are we back?
Yeah, we are.
We're back.
Cool. And we're going to talk about Affleck's Batman, which is why he totally let us in with that terrible, awesome Batman thing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Hacky radio.
Hacky radio at its finest. That's what we do here. So DC wants to make their cinematic universe revolve around Affleck's Batman.
Batfleck. You.
Batfleck.
Okay, so I read that supposedly an early screening of Batman versus Superman got a standing ovation.
By Warner Brothers executives.
Okay,
Check
still.
that out real quick.
So they have a finished version of the movie already?
Probably not.
A movie that comes out in a year?
Probably not a CGI finish. Probably like here's some strings and
Like,
wires.
do you
type of
remember
deal.
X-Men Origins Wolverine, the leak that
The
came
leak
out
that came out with him in, like-
6 months before? Yeah,
Great.
it was really weird.
I bet it's like that. I bet that's what
Okay.
they showed. Just like
All right.
here's the progress type of deal.
I still stand by what I've been saying, that's still what I'm most excited about from this new bout of DC.
For sure.
I agree with you. I also think that it is a stupid idea to make the universe revolve around Batman.
No, dude. Everything revolves around Batman anyway.
That's the problem to me. Is like this is what, and I made this joke on the chat, is that they made Man of Steel, and then they thought instead of making a sequel or making another interesting character, let's throw Batman in this movie. That's basically what they did. And
that does bother me.
And I feel like that's what they're going to do with all of their films. If Wonder Woman doesn't do great, I bet you Wonder Woman 2 is Batman versus Wonder Woman.
Hold on.
Like-
this is different, but they're kind of doing the same thing. All right. So if Marvel would have had Spider-Man, they would have been making Spider-Man movies like
Sure.
beforehand,
Sure.
right? Like kind of how they made Batman movies for DC.
Right.
100%.
Okay.
I agree with you.
So now that they have Spider-Man,
Right.
they're gonna put him in all these different things. They're shoehorning him in Civil War. They're making his own movie. He's gonna be in all this other stuff.
Uh-huh.
Just kind of like what they just did with Batman, putting him
No,
in
no,
the,
no, no.
the
Hold
DCU. What's the
It's-
difference?
It's a
But the
little
difference
different.
is that
It's the most popular
they're going to
character.
center the universe around him.
And Spider-Man's probably going to be the center of
No,
the universe.
He's not going to be the center
after-
of Civil War.
No,
after
because-
his movie comes out. No, after his movie comes out, he's going to be the main one. You don't
I
think?
know.
because
I
remember
highly doubt
that the solo Spider-Man movies are still handled by Sony Pictures.
Right. Okay. But that's the only reason why then.
As far as the
He would be the
cinematic
most
universe,
popular
I
one.
think there's. I don't think.
You-
I don't see it happening that way.
I mean, even if he
And
was
the
most
problem
popular,
that I have is that again, I did want a second Superman movie, and it didn't happen. Instead, we got a
I'm
Justice League Junior.
okay
I'm just-
with it.
the
I'm
thing-
cool with it.
the thing to me is that this is going to be their excuse for not doing what Marvel's doing right now, making this universe expand.
Exactly.
Like if Marvel had Spider-Man or Fantastic Four or X-Men, we would have never seen Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
We probably would have never gotten a Doctor Strange or an Inhumans would have never
Black Panther or
happened.
something like that.
Black Panther.
Maybe we would have gotten Black Panther just because he's
Yeah,
black.
but that's what I'm saying. Like those films are only happening because Marvel didn't have the access to those characters. That's why I'm saying DC, looking at what Marvel's doing and looking at the fact that they just made a successful Ant-Man film and that Guardians of the Galaxy was one of the best films when it came out. Like
It sucked.
it's a success regardless of whether you think it sucked or not, though.
All right.
And they should be able to look at this and say, hey, look, we shouldn't be afraid of Wonder Woman and Aquaman and all these other films that we could make. And when they announced their slate with all of these other cool movies, I was like, all right, cool, let's do this. But now I feel like in the next month, we're going to be like, oh, well, Batman Solo is now going to happen after Dawn of Justice. Or you're going to get a Batman Solo movie in between Justice League. And we're going to push all the other ones back.
I mean,
that's what I feel like is going to
But
happen.
Aquaman isn't bankable.
I understand that, but that doesn't mean he's not
think
going
it could
to
be.
make money in the box office. Ant-Man isn't bankable.
They're terrified, dude, of that. I
But
mean,
that's
think about what
the
happened
problem.
with Green Lantern and everything. They're terrified
Yeah.
of, and even Superman.
Yeah,
Like
they
it
are.
wasn't as successful as it should have been.
I mean, it actually it was less successful than Amazing Spider-Man.
Do you know what I'm saying? So
it's got to be like
So that's disappointing. So they're
It
like,
was.
dang, man, Superman couldn't even bring in the people. So that's why they feel like they have to put Batman in
it's
it.
just
They're playing it safe.
since 1988, Batman has been their money, their
Right.
their money pot. You know,
No doubt.
they've known that.
But my problem with this is that, again, I understand from a business standpoint that it makes sense.
So they're scared.
but
They
it's,
are scared.
It's them admitting that they are scared and that they can't make films about anyone outside of Batman, and that to me is a bad look for DC.
And I think part of the problem is their firm stance on no jokes, like on making all of their movies dark.
Nolan. They have to be. It's like
Yeah.
make it Nolan or don't do it at all.
Because that's limiting themselves. Like they have to say, oh well, no, this character won't work because we can't make it dark and broody. So nope, that's out the window.
It's like I mean, like Aquaman. One of my favorite things about an Aquaman movie would be the moment that he's like making jokes about himself.
Right.
Like that would be great,
Which
but
I
we
can
can
never see Jason Momoa doing.
we can never see. I can't ever see DC doing it,
Right?
Because it'll just be like it's just gonna, make them not want to come and see it.
No, I mean you're right. Like every time I see Green Arrow and animated something, he's always funny.
Yeah. He's great.
He is,
and that's
great.
the thing is like Bruce Timm's animated movies or animated series were filled with not only dark moments like their universes, but also plenty of lighthearted and funny moments, especially with like Wally and Justice
One
League.
of the darkest things, in my opinion, in anyone's comic history is the Return of Joker Batman Beyond movie.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That was dark.
Sure,
Okay?
absolutely. But
So
it
is,
was
you know what it takes
Year
to
One.
put-
If
to
you guys
put-
ever watch Year One?
Yeah.
That's dark too.
But
Yes,
I
yes.
agree. But this was, I mean, essentially Batman Beyond was a kid's show.
yeah.
And yet the follow-up movie includes the psychological and physical torture of a child.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, to me, it's they all have a history of success in the 90s and early 2000s with these animated films that Bruce Timm did for them
No doubt.
that shows them that people will respond to that type of
I just watched Crisis on
making.
Two Earths, and that
Yep.
was phenomenal.
I
Absolutely.
like Crisis on
And
Two
yet
Earths.
at the same time, they're like looking at their movies like we can't do any of that, which is to me
Why can't they
just
do?
dumb.
Because that's more okay. That movie right there was a lot like Avengers to me.
Mhm.
It
Like
was.
it was.
It had
It was
Avengers feel to it.
fun, but then it was dark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, you can have both of them. I don't understand. Like, Batman was dark like he always is, but he
Right.
was funny.
Yeah.
And I
He was
mean,
funny
the
in that
thing,
movie.
The thing with is even
Owlman was crazy.
Marvel with Phase 2 tried to do that for some of their films, and it didn't always work as well.
Right.
Like,
But at least it wasn't.
No, and Cap too, which
Batman
was kind
has
of
a
darker,
certain-
funny. It was funny too.
I mean, even Age of
Batman has
Ultron.
this certain like violent humor about him too, which
Yeah.
I haven't really seen them use in any of the movies. Like for instance, in Arkham Knight is a perfect example. Like you'll interrogate a guy, and then you'll be like, thanks, and then you'll knock him out. Like just shit like that. You
Right.
get me? Like just simple. Like he does have these quips about him that are they're just dry humor. You get me?
Exactly.
But they haven't done that.
Yeah, that
They've
is disappointing.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's obvious. Like, obviously, you don't want to do too much of it because, like, Thor: The Dark World tried to be dark and gritty, but very light and harder at the same time,
But
and it didn't really work well.
They're trying to tap back into the Dark Knight, dude. They're trying to like the
that's
the
the
craze that everybody, not just us, not people like us, but it was everyone was
but like,
obsessed
but
with that
everyone
movie.
that I knew that grew up with me loved Batman's animated series and the Superman.
Oh, no doubt,
animated
no
series.
doubt. That's the
It's
best.
the same thing. Like it's you can get just as many people coming in for that type of film as you could for The Dark Knight.
But the ones that were kind of campy, the Joe Schumacher movies,
Well, but that was a little.
they're terrible,
tough.
but they didn't make the money that the Michael the guy, the Tim Burton movies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't make that kind of money. So I don't know. Like I feel like they're just scared to do a Batman that isn't.
Anytime I think about that, I
serious.
can't even imagine turning down $15 million.
Like the funniest Batman
do
we've
another one.
gotten.
That's how much Michael Keaton turned down to
Yeah.
not come back for the third one.
Isn't the funniest Batman we've gotten? George Clooney.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Who
kinda
said
sad.
he specifically said that he played the character as a homosexual.
I
That
mean, it
was
might as
his-
well have been.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, like
okay,
to me,
wait, no. Stop. I want to talk about the Killing Joke. This is important to me.
Okay,
gonna
before we
make
get
a
into that, can
point.
I just bring up how awesome Gods and Monsters is?
Yes.
It's
before we get
ridiculous.
into that, can I just say that I think that the Dark Knight series is the worst thing to happen to DC because it's made them afraid. I just wanted to
agree.
make that point before we went down.
Yeah,
So,
no,
like,
no,
it
no,
was-
no. We can touch on that.
To an
You want
extent, I do agree. I think that they,
was the worst success DC could have ever had
yeah,
because it made
because
everything
that
feel like it had to
succeeded
be that
and
way.
everything else they tried failed. So they're like, oh no, this is what we have to do.
Exactly.
So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's definitely
No
true.
doubt.
Yes, and I want to see Gods and Monsters. Like,
Are they
idea
gonna try to make Flash dark too?
I hope not. But see, this is the
I
thing.
don't even know how.
They hired.
Exactly.
They hired.
The darkest is gonna get is a TV show.
What was the Miller and what's the other guy's name?
Ezra Miller and
No. The writers,
Oh,
Lord and Miller. They hired the writers for that.
isn't the actor's last name also Miller? Let's see,
I-
Ezra.
I don't
Whatever.
even
It
doesn't
know.
matter.
Sorry, go ahead.
Doesn't
Lord
matter.
and Miller.
They
sure.
hired the writers, and they're comedy writers
Right.
for Flash.
Okay.
And so I would really like that is the one one film that they've actually kind of started doing work on that I am looking at like this might be good.
All right.
Because of the fact that it's got a comedy background already in it. So I feel a little more safe with it. I wish they would be directing it, but they can't because they have to be doing the stupid Sony Spider-Man movie, which makes me upset.
Why?
Because they're doing the animated Spider-Man film.
Oh, right.
Which is making it to
Wait,
where they
that's still a thing?
Yeah. They're doing an animated Spider-Man film outside of the MCU.
Coming out
for
next year,
Sony.
right?
No, it's
2 years from now?
2017, I think,
All
or
right.
18. Like
I didn't realize that was still a thing.
Yeah,
So,
and that's the reason they can't direct Flash because they're going to be working on that.
So I just want to bring up Gods and Monsters was awesome, and I don't want to give spoilers away because you guys haven't seen it yet.
Sure.
So definitely go and watch it. And you were going to
By
say that
next
you were excited.
Yeah, by next week. I'll
Yeah,
see
Adrian wants to be here too when we talk about
Okay,
it.
cool.
So.
Bruce Timm,
Dude,
all of my DC faith is in him.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
good.
So
So good. So good.
If Bruce Timm and Kevin Feige ever got together.
I mean, I don't see why DC hasn't like been like, Bruce, why aren't you our Kevin Feige?
Yeah,
yet?
I agree.
Like,
All right, so we have a few minutes left, and we want to talk about the Killing Joke, right?
We need to talk about the Killing Joke because
do it.
I'm terrified. Look, you've got Mark Hamill back as the Joker, which
Kevin
he
Conroy
always
back.
said he would. He
Right.
said no matter how deep in retirement he was, I'll come back for the Killing Joke. You've got Kevin Conroy reprising Batman again.
Mm-hmm.
This is awesome news. But we had severe backlash
Yep.
for a comic book cover that just referenced the Killing Joke. It was just the Joker holding Batgirl and then smearing a smile on her face.
Yeah. And is there
That terrifies me.
and there actually isn't rape?
No.
Correct me if
What-
I'm wrong. There's maybe a reference, or there might
Okay,
be.
so what happened?
hinted at.
We do see the Joker, shoot her
Right.
and potentially beat her,
Of course.
but then we don't really see the pictures that Gordon gets. Okay, but Gordon does get a series of pictures that shakes him to his core, and they are heavily implied that she is
I just don't see.
abused in some way.
I just don't see Joker like raping her. She was just sexually
First off,
abused.
as
maybe.
far as I'm aware, I didn't even know the Joker could have sex.
exactly, that's
okay?
what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, he
so-
could, but
no,
as
I-
a character doesn't feel like him.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He's always come off as an asexual character. to me.
right?
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that he couldn't
He's
have
a
raped her
Barbie doll.
regardless.
He's like
yeah.
a Ken doll
It just
down there.
doesn't seem. Is this not in his character?
Now it depends on how you define rape,
Right. Exactly.
because it could be just him stripping her and abusing her,
Exactly.
and that's still I get that,
Mhm.
but that doesn't change the fact that it should still be in the story.
I agree.
Look, don't get me wrong, I'm sensitive to victims of of rape. It's an awful thing to happen to somebody. It doesn't change the fact that it happens.
And they're okay with.
And it's an evil thing that happens. And
Mhm.
Joker is supposed to be this embodiment of evil. Realize what he's doing. He's not doing this to hurt Barbara.
no.
He's not even doing it because she's Batgirl. When he
No.
does it, he had no idea she was Batgirl. He's doing this strictly to get James Gordon to kill him. He's actively trying to get the commissioner to kill him because he wants to prove that he can corrupt the uncorruptible.
Why were they okay with doing the Jason Todd, like get a 13-year-old boy, a 14-year-old boy?
Well, no, they
getting
did
beat
that
down?
in Arkham Knight.
They also did that in
Well, that
Under
was-
the Red Hood.
Yeah, Under the Red Hood. That's what I
They
was
showed
saying,
him
yeah.
beating and killing Jason Todd.
Like,
Yeah, but
dude,
he
like-
wasn't a boy.
Jason Todd's not a boy.
In Under the Red Hood, he was already he was at least an older teenager by that point.
I
But
thought
even still, like
he was a kid.
she's
we
gonna
have
be a
Hunger Games,
teenager.
so
she's going to be a teenager.
right.
They're
No,
not going to make her
but yes,
a child.
but no, there's no denying that the focus is definitely on on women being raped versus men.
Which is, I mean, dumb to me.
I agree, but that's not the that's
rape
not an
is
issue.
rape. We
That's not
should-
an issue in the comic book universe that we're talking about right
Right.
now. What I'm talking about is they need to include that because without that, I feel like you're not going to hate the Joker as much as you need.
That's
to.
not even the reason they
Right.
should include it.
We
Like-
all-
like
We all
I
love
agree
the
that it
Joker.
should include
We
it,
shouldn't love him.
but I think you're wrong about the reason why.
Okay.
The reason that they should include it is because the story at its core is a story about Barbara
I agree.
and about how she rises over this adversity and her strength and character.
That becomes the
And if
Oracle.
you don't include that, then you cheapen the entirety of her character.
Well, they can still have her be vulnerable without the rape. But anyway,
all right.
Yeah, sorry,
we don't have
guys.
time. We got to go.
This
So-
is interesting. too.
bye everybody.
Thank you for watching.
Now that we left on a positive note.
Like us on Facebook and Twitter. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.